Hello and welcome to the Machona podcast. This week we are discussing happiness in relationships. Now, if you are dating, engaged, married, or just seeing someone, the question that you need to be asking yourself is, are you happy in that relationship? And if you are not happy in that relationship, then the next question would be, why or what do you think is not going right in that relationship that is not giving you the happiness that you desire? Because I believe that every human being wants to be in a relationship so that they can get some form of happiness out of it. We always want to connect with another human being so that it makes our life a bit better than it is by ourselves. And so when you are in a relationship, the ultimate goal obviously is to find happiness. But finding this happiness as well is hard. It needs work. It requires dedication and also a willingness to compromise on both ends. And this is where now the problem comes in. But it is also important to remember that happiness in relationships is not a one-size-fits-all solution. Everyone's individual needs and desires should be taken into consideration, and each couple must find the balance that works best for them. That said, there are some common tips and strategies that can help couples achieve and maintain happiness in their relationships. So the first step in achieving happiness in a relationship obviously is to create a safe space for communication. Couples should be able to openly and honestly talk to each other without fear of judgment or criticism. Now, this means being willing to listen to each other's perspectives, even if they don't always agree. And it also means that both partners should be willing to compromise and work together to find solutions to any issues that may arise. And you have to remember that being in a relationship is like a partnership, and each partner needs to put in effort. Each partner has a stake in that relationship, and so they need to have some sort of input into that relationship. And the most important thing is they need to be happy as much as you need to be happy. So do not only focus on your happiness, but look after your partner as well, especially if you're planning to spend the rest of your lives together. You need to make sure that your partner is happy, and so you need to listen to their needs as well. Now, the second step is to practice self-awareness. This means recognizing each partner's individual needs, wants, and expectations. It is very important to be aware of how one's own actions and words may affect the other person. You need to understand the situation that you're in. And when you are dealing with another person, that other person has feelings too. And so when you are saying something or you are doing something, you have to put them into consideration, because it is not an individual marathon that you are on. It is a team. And so you need to make sure that your team members are working well with you, or you are working well with your team members if you want to achieve a certain goal. And so you need to be aware of your temperament. You need to be aware of your interests as well, because some interests do affect our partners. There are some, especially hobbies, where you are mostly spending time by yourself or with your friends, and your partner is there by themselves, and they are thinking you do not care much about them, or you do not care much about spending time with them, something like that, or you're not talking to them as much as you should, but instead you're spending more time talking to other people. So such small things, you need to be on the lookout for them. The third step is obviously to focus on the positives. As humans, we like to focus on things that have hurt us in the past. We like to replay the situations that we have been through, and we are trying to see what we could have said better or something like that. But in most cases, this just brings frustrations, because that's obviously a failed situation. And if you keep replaying a failed situation, then you keep spending time on something that you are not able to solve. So what you need to do instead is think about the positives. Quite all right, you have been through issues, but what you need to focus on is the future, so that you can avoid similar situations. And you need to have a positive outlook on the relationship. Keep in mind that when you have conversations or when you have disagreements, you are trying to correct a situation. And this can't be emphasized enough. Try to find solutions instead of attacking each other. I know I've said this in some episodes past, but it is very important in almost every aspect. The other step is to make time for each other. In order to maintain a healthy relationship, partners need to be able to spend quality time together. This doesn't always mean going out on fancy dates or taking long vacations. It can be as simple as taking a walk around the block or cooking a meal together. Whatever the activity may be, it's important to take the time to reconnect and share experiences with each other. Such activities usually create memories, and these memories are looked back on with fondness, and also it gives you some time to learn more about your partner and how they react to certain situations as well. It is as they have said, the more time spent, the more emotions grow. So the more time you're spending with your partner, the more growth you're going to have as a couple, because obviously there is some sort of bonding there. You get used to each other more, and so on and so forth. So make time for each other. This is very important. The fifth step is to practice empathy. Practicing empathy is putting yourself in the other person's shoes, and this means being able to understand and relate to the other person's feelings and perspectives. It's important to remember that both partners have different opinions and experiences in life, and it's okay to disagree. However, it's important to be able to put yourself in the other person's shoes and understand their point of view. Obviously, when it comes to being happy or to finding happiness, we are usually selfish as human beings, because you are thinking about the things that make you happy. And at times we subconsciously forget, to consider the other person. So you just want to be happy, and you end up just doing things that make you feel good. And the other person now either starts to argue with you because they also feel the same way. But what's most important is finding common ground, and this all comes back to communication. When you are communicating with each other, you know what's affecting the other person, and you know what the other person is enjoying as well. And so this is very important to have this form of empathy so that you understand each other better. And finally, it is important to cultivate a sense of trust. Trust is essential for any healthy relationship. Partners must be able to rely on each other and trust that the other person has their best interest at heart. This means being honest and open with each other and being willing to forgive mistakes. People hold grudges, and I don't want to say it's normal, but it's definitely something that can be avoided, especially if it's by somebody that you love. Holding grudges usually comes out in disagreements. When you have an argument and somebody starts to point out, you did this, you did that, you feel like you're being attacked, and so naturally you respond by also pointing out what the other person has done wrong in the past. Now this is very detrimental to finding solutions to problems, because now the other person is going to be like, oh, so we are going back to things that happened a long time ago. Well, you also did this, or you also did that. And at the end of the day, you don't solve anything. You end up just pointing fingers at each other. So have a sense of trust. Believe that your partner is obviously going to look after you in the best way possible, and you also need to do the same for them. look out after them in the best way possible as well. Now, you can say that obviously it's another person and you can't be 100% sure. Yeah, that's correct. But they are also not 100% sure about you as well. I usually say that every relationship is a gamble. It's always a gamble because you are dealing with another human being. You are dealing with someone who has their own mind and their own way of life. So if you have decided to be in a relationship with them, then you need to give them the benefit of the doubt and you need to start a clean slate. You can't go into a relationship looking over your shoulder because of what someone else did to you in the past. That affects your current relationship because now you are looking at your partner with, side eyes, like, I know you're trying to be good, but I don't fully trust you because someone else came the same way. And if you go into a relationship with that kind of mindset, then definitely you're going to have problems because your partner is noticing your energy and they will start to assume that you do not actually like them the way maybe they want to be liked or the way they like you. And so they will also start forming opinions about you. But in actual sense, you're both just trying to protect yourselves. So let your guard down. Enjoy your relationship, try the best you can to trust each other and see where it goes. If relationships do fail and relationships do succeed, but you have to at least give 100% or at least 90% to that relationship. So achieving and maintaining happiness in relationships takes hard work and dedication. However, it is possible to cultivate a lasting and fulfilling relationship when both partners are willing to put in the effort. By creating a safe space for communication, practicing self-awareness, focusing on the positives, making time for each other, practicing empathy, and cultivating trust. Couples can find long-lasting happiness in their relationships. And so this is something that should be important to consider, whether it's an old relationship or it's a new relationship. You can incorporate these tips and see how they work for you. So this has been me. We shall talk again next week.